All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching us across the states in Nigeria. Nigerians are heading towards 2023, and the major political landmark for the coming year is the general election. And people are asking, what are the campaigns saying? What is the takeaway from the manifesto of our political parties? And of course, there are quite a number of things on the lips of our Nigeria. But quickly, let me say, I welcome you all to another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo. And of course, I have one of the real talkers. Let me put our household band to be precise. How you doing, Marshall?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you in this off-white and orange. Now I think that is mango.
Yes, it's always mango.
Yes, because now it's looking like mango. Welcome, guys. It's the RTWK show, the program where Kike says we keep it real here with issues that we discuss here. We'll give you the real side of things. We tell you how it is from our own beat. My name is Marshall Anthony Ononye, and we can never ever stop thanking you for joining us.
All right. I can hear Nigerians' voice around the corner. Let's get to hear one of the historical events in Nigerian history. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Senate President and the Governor General Designate of Nigeria, presented a mace to the Eastern House of Chiefs at a special meeting of the House and Staffs of the office, where also presented to the first-class chiefs of the House by the Eastern Premier, Dr. M.I. Okpara. Concerning Nigeria's independence, a meeting of the Security Council was called to hear the application of Nigeria for membership of the United Nations. A petition by Mr. Sanwo-Olu, who, with Mr. Theophilus O. Benson, the Nigerian Minister of Information, were candidates for the Lagos North constituency in the federal election of December 12, 1959, was dismissed by the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council until October 1963, when Nigeria became a republic. Nigerians could still make petitions to that august body.
Many thanks for staying with us. Marshall, what's your take on this day in history segment?
Yeah, for me, it's, we're in the Independence Week. It's Independence Month. So what we would expect to be seeing is things that followed, that transpired within this month. And even up till the end of this month, we'll keep seeing independence-based reviews, independence-based retrospective events, or, things that happened in the past. And that's just one of the things that followed the independence reaction back in that date. That's how I view this. A petition that was filed, and then also given the House of Chiefs, commissioning the House of Chiefs was a great one. It heralded that practice.
Many thanks for that. For me, the fact that it has become an eventful historical day in Nigeria is one. I think it just shows how they started forming independence at the time, putting orderliness since we gained independence, and the fact that I think as Ben Onitiri was the one in the Middle Belt, what's his name? Awolowo was the one the West, in charge of the West, region. And of course, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was the one in charge of East. And it just shows how there was no marginalization, there was inclusiveness, on all regions, which is something that I feel that has bettered also where we are today in terms of unity, in terms of we being, in terms of unity, and the fact that one umbrella is what keeps us going, and regardless of whatever party, so to speak, or whatever ethnic ethnicity or ethnic group that you might belong, this is what actually defined it for me in terms of how we all must come together and understand that all that is happening in Nigeria affects us, and this is exactly why it is reminding us what took place when independence was formed. I think we should take a quick message from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll go straight to the topic at hand. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, as Nigeria prepares to hold its seventh consecutive general election since the country returned to the democracy in 1999, there are key issues that can shape the quality and credibility of the polls, and the much-awaited election will coincide, with 24 years of uninterrupted democracy, the longest in the country's history. The credibility of the 2023 general election will also depend on the degree to which citizens can vote freely, and of course the accuracy or the rightness of their choice of leadership. If the people had to vote rightly and had to make the best choice of leadership, the leaders are expected to offer them the best of intention and of course the pathways to making the conditions of the people better in the country. And speaking about the intentions and of course the plans of our leaders, we have one of the people that I feel that will be able to throw light on the conversation at hand. But before then, on the show today, we're supposed to have what's his name again? Chief Femi Fani-Kayode was supposed to join us today, but he couldn't make it. But on the show we have with the integral member of the APC campaign council, who will be discussing with us on the plans. She is standing in, for our scheduled guest, Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, who was meant to be on the show, as I earlier said, and apologizes to our viewers on his absence, which is due to maybe his court appearance that was prolonged today. However, he assures us that his interview can be rescheduled. But you know what, let me rest on that. We have the right person in the studio from Abuja, connecting with us regarding the topic at hand. But before we air the guest profile video, Marsha, let me come to you quickly. I really need to get your view based on the fact that we've brought in two people thus far, Mocha, and of course we've seen Kiamo and all of that sharing a lot of things on social media. SAN, what's your take thus far with APC campaign, the political group as a whole? What's your take on it, knowing that the PDP have come out with their own manifestos, the likes of Labour Party and the likes and all of that? What do you think is holding APC back?
The media will not allow me really say what
Go
I
ahead.
think,
But
I just try to, with all modesty, express what I think is holding them back. I mean, not beyond what is on the front burners. We've seen a little bit of unsettlement within the political party, within the APC. We've seen how PDP seems to be, yes, despite their internal wranglings, they seem to be ready to confront the electorates with their campaigns. They seem to be ready to confront the electorates with their mandate and sell their candidate as well, irrespective, like I say again, irrespective of the internal wranglings. But the APC, despite the fact that it is the ruling political party, we would have expected that they would have been on top of their game, irrespective of the presence, absence of the flag bearer of the party. They as little as being able to constitute their campaign council. We've seen that it's not come to fruition, although we had Mocha the other day come to say, look, that should count for some kind of credit for them, that should present to the people, the populace, that they are taking their time. Now that's what we saw with President Muhammadu Buhari when he was sworn into office in March of 2015, and he took 6 months to inaugurate his council members. And he came under strong fire and criticism. It appeared like someone who wasn't really ready for that leadership, especially because he has fought so many years for that leadership. And then so we expected that they should have done something by now. They have come very far, very prepared. So they should have brought us something tangible and substantial.
All right, many thanks for that insight. Let's quickly see the profile of our guest before we bring her on air. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Dr. Anatu Musawa. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike platform today again. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing fine, Miss Kike. It's nice to be back.
Yeah,
Thank you.
many thanks for honoring our invite. So let's just go straight to the topic at hand. And I want to start from your team. Your team had a meeting that lasted for hours yesterday on a on drawing up a timetable for campaign kickoff. I would like to know what were the major highlights, if you would like to share with us today.
Sorry, Ms. Kike, can you just repeat that question again?
Yes, I said I would like to start with the APC team, the APC Presidential Council that held a meeting yesterday that lasted for hours, drawing up a timetable for the campaign kickoff. And I was asking if you would like to share the major highlights of the meeting that took place yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yesterday there was a very crucial meeting with the Campaign Council and the National Working Committee and the progressive governors as well. And the main highlight really was to draw out a timetable for this 4-month campaign that we have ahead of us. And you can see in the aftermath of that particular meeting, our team came out and announced to the world that we are one house that is united, and as a team, together with the APC National Working Committee, together with the Campaign Council, together with all the aspirants involved, we are ready to go out there and to present our programs to Nigeria and hopefully to do a very robust and rigorous campaign that will bring us to victory in 2023.
Well, welcome, Aisha, once again. We want to thank you for joining us. It was an awesome time we had with you the other time you were here, and again we have you here. It's awesome having you. My question would be, because I admire, Kike and I were just talking about your kind of personality, bringing your youthful infusion into and intelligence as well into the system. It's quite, we would expect a whole lot in terms of innovation and strategy. So now the political terrain is changing, and would expect that the response and the activities that come with it would also change, talking about computer-assisted dynamics. So I'm thinking, despite your meeting, what has come out of that meeting in terms of strategy, in terms of the dynamism to be deployed for campaign?
In terms of strategy, obviously we will not be able to divulge our strategy at this point in the contest. You will see dynamism within our campaign. We came out with a timetable. Hopefully that will be made public very soon. And what you will find is there's a lot of innovation that has been put into place. We are taking advantage of every single aspect of technology that will give us the ability to foster our campaign in the highest form. So definitely by the time, hopefully very, very soon, we come out with our timetable and the public will be able to scrutinize all the programs that we have in place, you will see that APC is not in this contest to play. I mean, maybe so far because we have not started our campaign in the way that maybe some other parties have. It may come across as if APC is not ready. That is not the case. What APC is doing is putting its house in a form that by the time we come out, we are a force that is so formidable that it would be very difficult for anyone to compete with us on the campaign scale.
Many thanks for for that submission, but I just want to pick on one of the statements you just made, saying that APC is not yet to play, because I know that the former Anambra State Governor, that's Peter Obi, on Monday, October 3rd to be precise, officially unveiled his plans on whipping out Nigerians' debt profile. And these are blueprint discussions Nigeria want to hear. That is will I say it affects, or it will affect us to trickle down to the man on the street on what they want to hear, especially when it comes to debt. You know, I'd like to ask you, if the APC manifesto is yet to be out, I would appreciate if you can give us an idea on how APC wants to do that in terms of debt in 2023.
You know, yes, some other parties have started their campaign. We can see that. But for us in the APC, we're not really racing against anyone. What APC wants to do by the time we start kicking off our campaign is to do a very robust engagement with Nigerians to show them the programs that we have, hopefully, to move this country to a higher plane. So we're not looking at what other parties are doing. And by the time, like I said, we do have a manifesto. There has always been a manifesto. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always had his own manifesto. Of course, now, because of the change in dynamic that Nigeria is, that manifesto had to be upgraded and tweaked in a way that it would respond to all the issues that have come up within our time. And so that has been put into place. The manifesto is ready, but obviously it goes through a process, because apart from the fact that his team has put a manifesto together, we have to work in tandem with the leadership of the party and the leadership of APC generally, the general leadership of APC and the National Working Committee, to make sure that we have a manifesto that has gone through all the proper channels and processes that it requires before we present it to the nation. And I can guarantee you, I have had the privilege of seeing the manifesto, and honestly, it is completely holistic. It is quintessentially Nigerian, and I think that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima have been able to come up with a manifesto that is going to be able to respond to all the issues that Nigerians are craving for attention, so to speak.
I hate to think that you might be sounding like a typical politician, you know, right now. I hate to really think that someone I admire with so much, you know, intelligence there, because you're like a big being in that, within that space. But I'd like to ask you, without even divulging much, can you bring us up to speed as regards to how up to date is your team? How up to date is your team when it comes to available information that will be deployed, and not speculations? Because even INEC itself has come to say, look, among several other things, keep your campaign very objective, very constructive, away from abuse and speculations. We cannot rule out speculations. We've seen what it does. So how up to date are you with happenings around?
Oh, we're extremely up to date. You know, apart from the fact that way, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team wanting to come into government, we already are operating under the platform of a government that is already in place. So all the up-to-date information we have privilege to, and we have had that privilege to be able to sort of use the vision that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has for Nigeria, to be able to update it. And you speak about politician. I don't know that it's so much of a bad thing to be a politician. I mean, you can be a politician and still maintain a level of morality. And hopefully that's why I chose to support Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, because I think both of them are characters that, yes, they are politicians, but at the same time, they are able to integrate integrity and capacity and compassion into their enactment of being politicians. So we hope that, like I said, even if I do sound like a politician, hopefully by the time our manifesto comes out and Nigerians have an opportunity to see our programs that we have for the country, hopefully they'll give us an opportunity and a chance to explain to them and to convince them why we think that will be the best choice to garner this country into a very fresh and progressive new beginning.
All
with
right.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president.
Right, great insights right there. I think my next question, right, and I think my on this day in history segment is actually what is leading me to ask this question in terms of inclusion. You know, there's this popular saying and understanding in Nigerians or in Nigeria that the Northerners will always be loyal to their fellow Northerners. And when it comes to election, how does APC at the presidential level hope to defeat former APC Atiku in the North?
You know, that is, I would say, I think of all the challenges that we have, obstacles that we have as a party trying to win an election within this specific atmosphere, that is probably the easiest. I tell you why. Because, you know, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu may not be a Northerner. However, you know, for the last three election cycles, he has been seen by the North, specifically by the core North, as a friend of the North. In 2007, he provided a platform for then Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the now opponent. In 2011, he provided a platform for Malam Nuhu Ribado, who's also a Northerner. In 2015, he provided a platform for then General Muhammadu Buhari, now the president. So already Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the North has always been seen as someone who has always had the interest of the North. So even if the North had this sort of state of mind where they support one of their own, it was always easy for us to sell Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to them. And I tell you, you go to many parts of the North, you know, the popular name that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is known for, the Jagaban, was actually a title that was given to him by a northern emir, and it's Jagaba. And it's a Hausa word, which means pull forward. So wherever you go in the North, you hear them talk about him like Jagaba. They've taken ownership of him. And in addition to that, Alhaji Kashim Shettima is one of the northern leaders that has always been looked at by the North as one of the governors that has really performed in the North. So he enjoys a high level of acceptability with the northern electorate. So notwithstanding the fact that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima on a ticket that is contesting against essentially someone that is from the North, I don't think that is a problem for us, especially in the battleground of the Northwest, which Alhaji Kashim Shettima and Bola Tinubu are extremely popular in that particular area of the North. So I don't think that is a problem for us at all. I think we will deliver the North to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I'm actually very, very convinced that as someone that comes from the core North, from the Northwest, I know the kind of support that people have galvanized for this duo, and I think we will deliver in landslide numbers to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC in the North.
Awesome. All right, we'll go on a quick break to get a word from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined today's show, today's guest is Dr. Anatu Musawa, the Deputy Spokesman of the Presidential Campaign Council, APC. And of course, we have been having conversation around APC campaign, the manifesto discussion, and the way forward when it comes to what Nigerians expect from them in terms of blueprint of bringing us out of debt. However, remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 0809-8877-400 showing on your screen right now. And we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube page, both on Silverbird platform and on Real Talk with Kike. Again, I say many thanks for your insights thus far. You know, and I would like to ask you a question right now regarding your colleagues, many of your colleagues in the campaign council, including SAN Festus Kiyamo and Felix Moka, who was on the show last week, have we stated that the manifesto of the APC is ready and Nigerians will eventually hear it from the horse's mouth. However, do you want to, kind of, I know you've thrown light on this. I don't know if you would like to, show more light in terms of how to sustain the impact of your manifesto when other parties have gone weeks ahead, driving their own agenda home, and quite a number of people who are still worried. They don't know which party to vote for, and they are yet to hear from your own party. What can you say about this?
I don't think Nigerians should be worried, because this election is not next month. We have 4 good months, over 4 months, in which we all have an opportunity to present our manifesto. Like I said, for us in the APC, we're not looking at it as if we're a race against anyone. For us, it's more of an engagement with Nigerians to try to present our programs for them and try to convince them that we're the right choice for them to make in 2023. So I think our manifesto honestly will speak for itself. By the time, and it's going to be when we say by the time, it's going to be a very short time, within the next week, I'm sure our programs will be out, and Nigerians will be able to dissect our manifesto and put it pari passu together with the manifestos of the other parties. Then they'll be able to make an informed decision as to without using emotion, as to which party is going to present the best programs for them. And honestly, like I said, I've had an opportunity to sort of cite the manifesto, and I can assure you that that manifesto is completely holistic. That manifesto has been able to look at all the areas that Nigerians sort of are clamoring for some sort of attention, and has been able to address it in the most, I think, generally robust way. And I'm really convinced that if Nigerians can just give us a little patience to wait for our manifesto to come out, so that we'll be able to engage not only Nigerians but the other parties based on issues. I think it's important as we go into this exercise to not use emotion or personalities. I think we really have to make the debates based on the issues, and of course that can only happen once we have the manifesto ready and we're able to present it to Nigerians. When we do that within the very, very short possible time, honestly, Nigerians will then be able to make that informed decision. And I'm convinced, I've seen the manifestos of the other parties, and I've seen the manifesto of our party. And I think that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima have come up with the best solutions to Nigeria's issues that are bedeviling the country at the moment. So just a little bit of patience we ask for. And we have 4 good months in order to be able to dissect these documents completely, backwards and forwards. So just a little patience, but I think we can convince Nigerians with the programs that we have for them.
A little patient. I just wish it's coming holistically from your party to the rest of Nigerians, saying, little patient. But we've heard the likes of, I wish we can jag about on this matter, move forward on it. We've heard from the likes of Joe Iboke, who was on this show, and in his words, he said, by the time the end of this administration and the achievements of this APC-led administration is brought out, in his words, he said, Nigerians would clap for President Muhammadu Buhari. And then we also had Moka come also to say, look, a little patience. You're also saying little patience. Let's maybe have that patience, and hopefully that you deliver on your party deliver on his words. But away from that, I don't think I'll forgive myself if I have an opportunity to ask you what you make or what you think of the quest to have your principal make public his health status, and also his source of wealth. What do you make of it? Do you see it as a just call?
Of course I do see it as a just call. I think Nigerians have a right to know the not just the character, the antecedents, but also the status in different respects of the person that's going to lead the most populous African nation in the world. When it comes to the health status of our principal, I am in a little bit more of a privileged position than maybe many of the other people within the campaign council. During the presidential primary screening committee, I was a screening process. I was the secretary of that particular committee. I was the secretary of the presidential primary screening committee. And within that exercise, one of the things that we did was to ask to sort of investigate the health status of certain candidates that, or certain of the aspirants that came and presented themselves before us. And the fact that we were able to see a lot of documentation to that regard, and the fact that we were able to give Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu a certificate of clearance, we were as a panel convinced that in terms of his health
Doctor,
status,
I have to interrupt your line of thought. Apologies, I have to interrupt. We have a caller who has been holding up for a while. Sunday from Lagos. Sunday, many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the topic at hand?
From Lagos.
Okay.
I'm just watching your program now. The real talk with Kike. So please, Tinubu would have been the best candidate. But the issue of Agbero is too much. It's too much. Ticket upon ticket. So that alone is killing us.
All right, I think we lost that. You know,
The issue of Agbero.
Yeah, the issue of Agbero is too much. You know, ma'am, you know, listening to you thus far, you know, there are speculations that President Muhammadu Buhari would inaugurate the revised list of the Presidential Campaign Council on Monday upon the return of the presidential candidates, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this weekend. I'd like you to tell us how the party is resolving this 422 members or member campaign list, which have plunged the party into crisis.
You know, this issue of the 400 campaign, you know, by the time the list that was released, though not officially, was just a list of the leadership of the directorates or leadership of the campaign council. That list that includes the people that are going to be part of the campaign council throughout the country is a lot bigger than that 400 or so members that was already released. And, you know, by the time that the full list is released, maybe online, because we're talking of thousands of people that are going to be engaged in the campaign of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, you know, you will find that we have been able to address all the areas of concern and all the representations, the areas of representations that needed to be addressed. We've been able to do that. Hopefully, when our principal returns, I think within the next few days, there will be a time where the inauguration will happen. Hopefully, by next week, you will see that the campaign council, the official list of the campaign council, that will be released via the party and the campaign council together. The president will inaugurate us together with the leadership. And I think by that time, when that happens, we will then immediately release our manifesto, immediately release our timetable, and we will begin the campaign, and it will be a non-stop marathon from now until February. Hopefully by next week, when we are inaugurated, you will see that APC is actually really ready for this exercise.
We have Uzoma from Lagos again. Uzoma, many thanks for calling. Please go straight to the topic at hand, please.
Hello?
Uzoma, you're live. Please go straight to the topic at hand.
Yes, thank you. I thank God I get you people today. Since I'm watching you, hearing the guests here speaking about Jagaban. But my question is that this morning I listened to a newspaper report. I heard Festus Kamo telling the world that he didn't aware where Baba is now. Number 1 point. 2, issue of manifesto of APC. You can remember 2015, APC promised Nigeria heaven and earth. But after they win the election, they tell us it's a campaign talk, it's issue. It's not a Baba issue. So because they have started again now, Baba is not with them. And they're telling us about the manifesto of Jagaban. And my fear is that it will not be like a Buhari own. Later they deny us all their heaven and earth. Because they have started again. We in Nigeria, we are watching them. Thank you. This is my own.
Many thanks, Uzoma.
I'd like to say that we saw, like Uzoma's sentiment, I want to share in his sentiment a little bit. We saw how there was voter apathy. I think I asked part of that question to Imoko when he was in the studio here. Voter apathy for President Muhammadu Buhari in the southeastern region. Even the president himself had affirmed or attested to that fact when he made a disparity in the votes he got from around the nation. And then we also saw like a lopsided appointment. Some set of people from a certain part of the country seemed to be more favored in his appointment within his kitchen cabinet. Now that we are seeing a handover to a protege, if you may, for lack of a better word, to a protege from the APC, and then this protege being Jagaban saying, look, I'll continue from where President Muhammadu Buhari left off. Can you give us an insight what to expect in terms of the appointments of those who will be handling the affairs of the campaign in the coming days? Are we likely to see a balance? Are we likely to see women involvement? I like to see people like you play very active and sensitive role as well. When I talk about balance, I'm talking about inclusion of the people that have felt marginalized. Southeast, South-South, do we see them playing very principal roles in the campaign?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. With the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, we are going to see a balance. There will be no nepotistic tendency when it comes to this duo. And in fact, it's part of the reason why the party has taken its time to construct its campaign council, because we needed to understand, we needed to make that inclusion of reflection very central in the construction of our campaign council. And even apart from the fact that maybe certain parts of the country in the past have felt marginalized, and rightfully so, if we are to be honest with ourselves, that even within different regions, there's still micro marginalization even within that. And these are all the areas that we have been asked to ensure that even within states, that we make sure that there's representation of everyone across board. I can assure you that with the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there will be representation across board, and there will be no issue of nepotism.
That's understood. The caller who called said he heard Femi Kayode, Festus Keyamo, talk about, on an interview, talk about the whereabouts, or was fielding questions about the whereabouts of your principal, and he said he cannot say for sure. I think I'd like to ask you the same question and know what your thoughts or your answers would be. Where is your principal at this moment?
My principal is in London. He's in the UK. And I think I saw the interview that Festus Keyamo Leonard San did, and he didn't say that he didn't know where he was. It was, we all know where he is. He's in London. He's on his way back. He's very healthy. He's doing well. He's ready for the campaign. He's in London, and within the next 24, 48 hours, he'll be back in the country. And I think Festus Keyamo said as much. He didn't say he didn't know where he was. I think what he said was that he's not like the keeper of the principal, but we all know where he was. We are in communication with him on a daily basis, and there are members of our campaign council that are there with him, and there's only one of him. So definitely he's in the UK, he's in London. I think within the next 24, 48 hours, he'll be back on Nigerian soil.
Thanks for throwing light on that. And this is not mean endorsing anybody. I just feel that we Nigerians need to rest on the location of the APC presidential candidate, his fitness. I feel that we should be concentrating on his capacity. And I think I've emphasized on this on many platforms, on radio and on air. And it will be good for us as elites, as intelligent people, to also try to separate that. Quickly, we have Yemi on air right now. Yemi, many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the topic at hand, please?
Yeah, I think my contribution. I personally, I don't care where Bola Ahmed Tinubu is. But it's a national
language.
figure.
Can you please be mindful of your language, please, on this platform?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, there was a piece I called a meeting last week. All the presidential appearance were in attendance except Tinubu. Ordinarily, if he couldn't make it, he ought to have given Nigerian and supporters reason why he was not there. And the next thing we saw on his page on Twitter was him riding a stationary bicycle, what do they call it? We deserve more than this. So I want the lady in the studio to please explain to us why Tinubu was not in that meeting. Though it's not constitutional for him to be there, but for those who love him, those who are ready to go far and near for him, she should please try and convince them. Thank you.
Yemi, many thanks for your contribution. Quickly, I think I want to also use this opportunity to also educate those who are listening to us right now, of course, Nigerians. When we are saying that there's a ticket between two people, two candidates, that is Bola Ahmed Asiwaju and, of course, Shettima, when the other party is not around, constitutionally, the other person can fill in for the other person. So I feel that Nigerians sometimes will leave the problem at hand and will concentrate on other things, which is more like a distraction, if you ask me. I'm not saying that, you know, Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not supposed to be there, but if his vice president, VP is there already, I think that is enough. Over to you, ma'am. I don't know what you want to add to that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm just going to piggyback on what you said, because that was going to be my response. Yes, when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu already had an engagement that he had to be at in the UK. He cannot be in two places at one time. And that is the purpose of having a running mate or a deputy or a vice. And he was well represented by Kashim Shettima in that regard. And I understand that Nigerians, especially those who love him and who support him, want to be able to see him and interact with him in that public space. But like I said, we have 4 months in which they will be able to do that. There is no way, we're not going to keep our principle hidden for 4 months up until the election. I think if we'll be given a little bit of an opportunity or a leeway to allow us to present him in the way, when we are ready, we are going to present him to Nigerians. He is going to present himself to Nigerians. He's going to speak to Nigerians. He's going to interact with Nigerians. We hope to have a nationwide campaign in which we visit every single state, and every single state that we visit is not going to be the deputy or the flag bearer, deputy flag bearer that's going to be there. Is going to be Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself that is going to go to every single one of these states and have the necessary engagements. So if Nigerians, like I say again, please just exercise a little bit of patience. And this patience, we're not asking for patience for 4 months. It's just patience of a week to, a couple of days and a week. You will see our principle. You will see, hopefully, who's going to be the next president of Nigeria. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will engage. He will go to every necessary meeting that is required. He will go to every state. Nigerians will be able to see him one-on-one.
All right, many thanks for your submission, Dosfan. I say thank you so much for, being on the platform today. But before we let you go, there's the last segment of the platform that we call Trending Stories. These are stories that bind us. My co-host, Marsha, likes to call it stories that interest us as Nigerians. And the first trending story that caught our attention is that of the federal government that takes glory of released, 23 Abuja-Kaduna train. Marsha, quickly, what's your take on this captives that was set free? What's your take on
First of all, we'll say hallelujah, huru. We'll say, praise God that these guys have gotten freedom already. Would people begin to cash in on it for their own glory? Of course, you'd expect a government like the APC current administration take glory for that. We've seen press releases. What we've not seen is even the president coming out to even make a statement. Like many people had expected, look, President Muhammadu Buhari should come out and make a very stern and strong statement while these guys were in captivity. Let him infuse and, you know, show himself and his presence in the effort that is being made towards releasing those guys. Now that they are free, of course, what should Nigerians expect? We would expect that the administration would come out and take glory. So that's what we are seeing. And when we heard the news, the only thing I took away from that news was, thank God these guys were released.
So thanking God that these people are released. First off, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the family of the released captives, and I also want to empathize with the captive themselves after 191 days, Marshall, you know, of unexpected terror and horror, so to speak, you know. And however, the federal government, though, through the spokesmanship of the chief of defense staff, you know, that's General Irabo, who has said that they are taking glory, and the federal government is taking glory and credit for the release of this captive. However, you know, they only said that they have secured the release and they have also taken custody of the captive. But, you know, going through the statement that was pushed out there, you know, I cannot help but ask some gray area questions that I felt that many Nigerians are expecting answers. And the first one that came to mind is the fact that on what grounds did they actually secure the released captive is what came to mind. You know, the second one is the fact that was it on the grounds of negotiations or by the combative measures against the terrorists and all of that. And thirdly is the fact that what sort of intelligence have they been able to use to expose the terrorists, their hideouts and their architecture of operations, so that we all can learn from it, or people can learn from it in terms of intelligence. I'm still talking about the intelligence, Marshal. I'm also asking, what have they been able to learn in terms of intelligence to curb further hijack of trains or cars and the likes and all of that, based on all the ills that is happening to us in terms of insecurity in our country today? So what intelligence and security measures are they using to, you know, fortify rail transportation for rail transport users and the likes and all of that? And, you know, just to buttress your point again, the truth is, you know, I just feel that it remains that many of these victims and captives have paid millions. This is the news that I'm getting. Millions, you know, running into billions to secure their freedom without the contribution of the federal government. I stand to be corrected if federal government believes that that didn't happen. Can they please push out a statement? And these people went through trauma, terror, just like I said earlier, in the hands of these terrorists, in the hands of this. So I'm just wondering, what is the federal government doing to help to recover the mental and physical health, which I feel that in this country we don't pay attention to mental health. Depression is real, especially now that you are in your freedom, your fundamental human right was snatched away from you. So these are questions that I think that I want to put out there. I want federal government to please throw more light to this and find answers for us, so that we all can actually come out and actually, you know, clap for them with this release. Again, I don't know if we have time right now, but quickly we can touch on the second story. The second trending story that caught our attention is that of Sanwo-Olu, who surprises Lagos civil servants, you know, regarding salary increments. Quickly, what's your take on this?
It's long overdue.
Before I come to you, let me come to my guest. Ma'am, what's your take on this, Dr. Anatu, on the fact that Governor Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State had to increase people's salary? People are looking at it from the angle of because it's election period, hence the reason why he's doing it. What's your take on it from your own angle?
But I think it's a good thing, salary increments. For whatever reason the government does it, I think the civil servants deserve it. If Nigerians are going through economic pains and people that go to work have honest days' work, have an opportunity for their salaries to be increased, I think that is good. And I think it's a good thing for the Lagos governor to do. And I hope that every other governor across the country, whether APC or otherwise, will do the same, because I think Nigerians that do a hard day's work deserve all the support from the government as possible. And on the first issue that you spoke of about the kidnap victims, you know, yes, we will celebrate, but at the same time, I think we have to do a quiet reflection, because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. You know, within those train victims, I had family and very close friends that were part of the victims of that kidnap. And so I have personal insight as to the horror that they went through in the last 4 to 6 months, you know. So I really do. I'm glad that the government has taken more robust measures to sort of tackle this insecurity and try to release these prisoners. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that apart from these, there are many other people that are being kept captive. And I think the government should keep this momentum going. And it's a very, very loaded topic. Maybe one day you can invite me back and we'll just deal with the topic of insecurity, and I'll be able to give you the sort of insight that I have as a personal victim of this sort of scourge that is happening. But I'm glad that they've been released. We pray for the government to give them all the support that they will be able to support them, like you said, with their mental health. And I hope that the government is able to get the intel that is necessary to stop these terrible, horrible, nasty, horrible vagabonds from continuing to enact this sort of terrible terrorism on the citizens of this country.
All right, many thanks for your empathy, and I want to also add to what you've just said that yes, this is a welcome development, and I say a big thank you to Executive Governor of Lagos State, that's Mr. Sanwo-Olu. Even though I'm not a civil servant or a salary earner, however, what better life for a civil servant what better life could they be craving for right now, if not from the entire Lagos themselves or the Lagosian? And times are truly hard right now, if you ask me, especially when it comes to inflation rates, which is not good at the moment. You know, this approach has also been taken by the UK government since early this year to, you know, mitigate the effect of inflation on the earnings and of course wages of the citizens. And this is exactly what we are talking about a sensitive government, a government that understands when to come in. And is this the right thing that they should be doing at the moment in terms of elevating the suffering of the masses? The answer is yes. So as at March 2022, again, I know that Lagos State had, I think, over 478,000 full-time how would I put it, equivalent. I think that's FTE civil servants that at the moment the largest in Nigeria, going by the population count of the state, is coming from Lagos. So if the condition of Lagosians, so to speak, are being met, roughly half of millions of workers have improved by this increment, I say thumbs up to Lagos State government that they've done wonderfully well in, you know. And I think that this will also help the standard of living. It will help quite a number of things in terms of productivity, you know, and of course the workers too, in terms of, you know, ownership. I think that that's also one of the things the organization today that they do not get from their staff, you know, in terms of ownership, wanting to belong, wanting to just say, okay, this belongs to us. So I say kudos again to the state governor, Sanwo-Olu, for this great incentive at the right time. And on this note, I say many thanks again to our guests, you know, resourceful guests, for coming on the show today. And it's been an awesome time for you, throwing more light on the challenges that we're going through right now. And I say again, many thanks, Dr. Alatu Musawa. It's a pleasure to always have you on this platform. On this note, we say remain kind to one another and be real. Bye now.